Short exercise 21-30, we're going to use the high-low method to forecast costs. So the manager of Quick Car Inspection reviewed the monthly operating costs for the past year. Costs ranged from $4,400 for 1,400 inspections to $4,200 for 1,000 inspections. So as you notice, as the number of inspections increases from 1,000 to 1,400, the monthly operating costs increase from $4,200 to $4,400. Our requirements, we're going to calculate the variable cost per inspection. And then we're going to calculate the total fixed costs. And then we're going to write the equation and calculate the operating costs for 1,200 inspections. And then we're going to draw a graph illustrating the total cost under this plan. And we're going to use the high-low method for all calculations. So remember, going back to our slides, the high-low method was just used to forecast costs. So from our slides, remember we had these number of quarterly tablets produced and then the total maintenance cost. So what we tried to do is we tried to figure out what the relationship was between tablets produced and the maintenance cost. So what we did, why it's called the high-low method, is we took the highest production level, 480 tablets, and we took the lowest production level, 240 tablets, and we used those points. And the first thing we did is we calculated the variable cost per unit. So in this example, we found out that the variable cost was $2 per tablet. So let me back up really quick. So these costs here, the 1960 and 1480, these are mixed costs. They contain and here's the formula for a mixed cost. A mixed cost contains a fixed portion of the cost and a variable portion of the cost. So what we found out in this example was that for every tablet they produced, there was $2 of maintenance costs per tablet. And then in step 2, we found out that the fixed cost was $1,000. So therefore, the formula for this mixed cost was $1,000 of fixed costs right here, plus the variable cost per unit, which is $2 a tablet, times the number of units. So we're going to recreate this high-low method in this problem. So the first thing we need to do is calculate the variable cost per unit. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the high production level and the low production level. So we're going to calculate, the first thing we need to do is calculate the change in cost, change in total cost divided by change in volume activity. And again, we're going to use the high and low production levels. Change in total cost. So we're calculating the variable cost per inspection, which is this right here. So we need change in total cost divided by change in volume of activity. Change in total cost divided by change in volume of activity. And then our cost and our units, or volume of activity, is up here. Now notice they only gave us the high and the low, so we don't have to go searching for the high and low. So change in total cost, we're just comparing this cost, $4,400 minus $4,200. So that's obviously $200. And then change in volume of activity. So the volume of activity was 1,400 inspections and 1,000 inspections. So we're just going to subtract those two. 1,400 minus 1,000 gives us 400. So the change in volume of activity was 400 inspections, and change in total cost was $200. So we're just going to divide. 200 divided by 400 gives us 50 cents per inspection. So that's the variable cost per inspection. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to calculate the total fixed costs. So going back to our slides in the videos, the fixed cost formula is mixed costs minus variable costs. So we're doing this step 2. Fixed cost equals the mixed cost. In this case, the mixed cost was these costs up here, minus the variable cost, of which we've already figured out in the example was $2 per tablet. Let's get back to this one. So the first thing they want us to do is to write the equation of total fixed cost. Again, fixed cost is mixed cost minus variable cost, which is just this formula here, rearranged algebraically as we showed you in the slides. So fixed cost equals mixed cost minus variable cost. And then here's the other key thing. Use the highest volume and its mixed cost to calculate the total fixed cost. So when we're doing the step 2, we get to choose. We either use the high method, which means the high production level, or the low production level. Both of them will give you the same total fixed cost. But the homework says we have to use the highest. So the highest volume level was 1,400 inspections. And when we use this highest production level, 1,400 inspections, we need the total mixed cost. Well, the total mixed cost at 1,400 inspections was $4,400. So we're going to put $4,400. And then the total variable cost. So to calculate a variable cost, going back to our slides, so we're doing this part right here. We're calculating the variable cost. Well, how do we calculate a variable cost? We take the variable cost per unit, which in this case was $2 a tablet, and just multiply it by the number of tablets produced. In our case, we're going to take our total variable cost, which is right here, 50 cents, times the number of inspections at this high production level. So 50 cents times 1,400 gives us $700. So that's our variable cost. So if our mixed cost, the total cost, was $4,400, and of that $4,400, $700 was variable, then the rest must be fixed. So we do the math. 4,400 minus 700 gives us $3,700 of fixed costs. And now requirement 3, we're going to write the equation and calculate the operating cost for 1,200 inspections. So the whole purpose of this task is to try to forecast what's our cost, what's our total mixed cost, in other words, our total operating cost going to be if we had 1,200 inspections. So we know we had 1,400 inspections cost us this much, 1,000 inspections cost us this much. So this upcoming year, we think we're going to have 1,200 inspections. So by the way, what do we think our operating costs are going to be? So that's what we're trying to calculate. We're trying to forecast our total mixed cost. So how do we calculate a mixed cost? Well, remember, a mixed cost has a fixed cost plus the variable cost. So notice right here it says plus, and then here we're doing multiplying. So this is our variable cost. So this is our fixed cost. So again, we're doing this mixed cost equals a fixed cost plus a variable cost. So now we have to figure out, how do we calculate the variable cost? Well, the variable cost is just the variable cost per inspection times the number of inspections. So variable cost per inspection times the number of inspections. And that makes sense. Total mixed cost equals our fixed cost plus our variable cost, and our variable cost is the number of units, in this case inspections, times the variable cost per inspection. So let's do this. What's the variable cost per inspection? Right here. Our variable cost per inspection is 50 cents. So put 0.5 or 0.50 or 0.5, they're all the same, times our number of inspections. So the number of inspections we're trying to forecast for is 1,200. And then plus our total fixed cost, which we already calculated right here. So it's 3,700. Copy, paste. So if we're going to produce, or if we're going to have 1,200 inspections, our total mixed cost is going to be $3,700 of fixed plus 0.5 times 1,200. So 0.5 times 1,200 gives us 600 plus 3,700 gives us $4,300 of total mixed cost. Now, they want us to draw a graph illustrating the total cost under this plan using inspection numbers of 1,000, 1,200, and 1,400 inspections. So we're going to plot those points and then draw the simple graph line. It says enlarge the graph and use the point tool and line tool displayed below to draw the graph. So first of all, we're going to click on enlarging the graph. And then what we're going to do is we're going to, first of all, I'm going to graph this 1,400 inspections at $4,400. So I'm going to find 1,400 inspections. Notice here's the inspections and here's the dollars. So we said, oops, first of all, I need to click this point tool. So 1,400 inspections and go up to $4,400. And then click. Okay. Our next level of inspections is 1,000 inspections. Excuse me. 1,000 inspections at $4,200. So click the point tool again. You find 1,000 inspections, $4,200. So now I'm going to make a mistake on purpose. Let's say I clicked here accidentally. Well, how do I fix this? I click delete. It says delete this object. You're about to delete this selected object. So I click OK, and now I can go back and redo that. So 1,000 inspections at 4,200. 1,000. Oops. Click the point tool. 1,000 at 4,200. And then the last thing they want us to do is do it at the, or I should say the other point they want us to do is 1,200 inspections. And we already calculated this. This is our forecast. So 1,200 inspections gives us 4,300. So 1,200, click the point tool, gives us 4,300. So to draw the line, we're going to click on the line tool. Click here. And then release on the other, click and drag. Click on the first dot, drag it to the furthest to the left dot, let go, and then click on save. So this is the graph of our mixed cost. We could use this and say, well, if we had 400 inspections, it looks like we're going to have about $3,900 of costs. So that's the power of using this high-low method to forecast costs. And that's it.